looked so good. We sent him to the hospital to get checked out, and they did wind up admitting him. In the end, we got him feeling better and $125,000. He was over the moon. He came into the office to pick up his check and rang that victory bell. And the really cool part is James surprised us with a check of his own, a donation so we could keep the best free meal in Denver coming each and every first and third Thursday. If you've been injured, you may be like James, not looking to get rich, but not sure what to do. That's why we're here to help. Just give us a call at 303-LAW-4040. Go ahead, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. That's 303-LAW-4040.
Sex, intimacy, love. These three things are critical to a good relationship, and that's the problem with erectile dysfunction. It often destroys sexual enjoyment and intimacy. It stresses the love between partners, often to the breaking point. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if you're suffering with ED, you likely know exactly what I'm talking about. But I also want you to know that ED doesn't have to impact your relationship anymore. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, we're ED experts with our focus on men's sexual health. We've treated tens of thousands of men and have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. I promise you, if you're like most guys, you can get your sex life back, perhaps even performing like you haven't in years. So if ED is affecting you, it's time to get back to better sex, better intimacy, and deeper love. Call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
I am down 60 pounds because of SodaWeightLoss.com. The weight came off a few years ago, and it came off naturally. And I got to tell you, having my own nutritionist, someone who was always available via text, made all the difference. It's real support from a real person. That's what keeps you consistent with SodaWeightLoss.com. Soda is the #1 weight loss company in America for client satisfaction and results. Clients look and feel 10 years younger, just like I do. I move easier, I sleep better, I got my confidence back, baby, and all thanks to SodaWeightLoss.com. And here's the best part. Join now and your partner joins for free. You start together, you support each other, and you both get younger, feeling healthier versions of yourselves. Call them up, 1-866-800-SODA. That's 1-866-800-SODA. Join Soda for a short time to have results that last a lifetime. Go to SodaWeightLoss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda Weight Loss is, say it with me, it's got to be state-of-the-art.
Get the fastest local alerts and accurate 24/7 forecasts with WeatherBug. It's easy to use, so the weather never takes you by surprise. Download the free WeatherBug app today.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight, taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports from your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more. DenverSports.com.
It is Denver Sports Tonight. I'm Dante Gomez. Along with me, Mike Rice. How you doing, Mike?
Fantastic.
Yeah, did you have a good weekend?
Oh, man. Spectacular.
And I think
Spectacular Sunday, anyway.
Okay. And is that centered around
the hockey game?
The hockey game, of course. I mean, that was, I think, the crown jewel of the weekend.
Beautiful.
Maybe the crown jewel of hockey in general in the last, I don't know, decade or so, maybe longer.
Or half century,
yeah. I mean, the Team USA makes history. If you don't know by now, I don't know where you've been for the last 24 hours or 36 hours. USA wins in overtime, defeating their arch rival Canada 2-1. We had some Avs representation, obviously. We had USA representation, so we're going to hit it from all angles here, Mike. First, I want to know, game was at 6 a.m., a little bit of early wake-up call for sports watching, at least. What was your setup watching the game?
Oh, dude, I determined the day before it was getting up at 5. I mean, I was up for pregame. I mean, get the coffee made, just kind of settle in. Oh, yeah, it was must-see TV. And so I said to my sons, hey, you guys want to get up with me and watch a hockey game? And they said, first question is, what time is it? I said, well, face-off is at, 6:10 our time. My oldest, Evan, he said, no thanks, which I totally knew. And Will goes, yeah, I want to get up. I want you to wake me up. you sure? He goes, yep, wake me up. So I went in there at like 5 till 6 o'clock, just get a little stirring. Dead. So he finally comes sauntering down the stairs at the start of overtime. He sees about
what a time to show up for
90
him.
seconds of the game, and he's like, that was awesome. It was great, though. How about you? What was the routine?
I had the house to myself. All my roommates went up to Winter Park skiing for the weekend.
Okay.
So it was just me. I got up at like 6:30. Alarm went off a couple times before that. I had to hit snooze a little bit. So I actually missed the first USA goal. So when I turned it on, there was about 10 minutes left in the first period.
Yep.
USA was already leading 1-0. But I watched the rest of it, and my gosh, what a great hockey game. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was the most watched hockey game, at least internationally watched hockey game of all time.
Might have been. I mean, we'll have to see, I guess, what ratings come out tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see it tomorrow. But I'm assuming we're going to break that 10 million number, at least in the U.S. So
I would think.
And then you add on the Canadian viewers as well. So I think it did a lot of big numbers. Was there at any point during the game were you conflicted with rooting interest going into the game or during, with obviously Nathan McKinnon, Devon Taves, Cale Makar, all playing for Team Canada? However, we're here in Colorado. We're here in America, so it makes sense to be rooting for Team USA too. Was there any confliction at any point for you?
No, there was zero conflict. Love those guys, but yesterday they were the enemy. They were the rival. They were the team that I wanted to vanquish. I wanted our guys to win it, and I don't get emotionally into games when I watch them typically anymore. I mean, it's sort of been ingrained in me after this many years covering sports that I watch it, I enjoy it, and then I sort of let it go. Sometimes when a team I really want to win doesn't win, it sticks with me a little bit, but I don't. During the game, I don't usually like really get almost visceral or just totally into it. I was absolutely into it. I was in hockey. I have this love-hate relationship with big-time hockey games because the suspense just kills me. It's like, I'm literally on the edge of the couch. It's like I can't do this for 3 hours. And so I find myself being a little bit preoccupied, but still watching the game really closely, if that makes sense. And I was into every second. And there was zero conflict. I wanted Team USA to win. I wanted Team USA to win badly. And I will say, after Boldy scored that goal and got the U.S. up 1-0, I had really liked the way Hellebuck had started the game. He just seemed in a flow. He just seemed into it. And I thought, I don't know if he's going to, pitch a shutout, but I think he's going to have a game. And I felt really confident in Hellebuck from fairly early on. I don't know why. It was just a sense I got.
Well, you turned out to be right. And even Jack
was
Hughes,
amazing.
the player that scored the game winner in overtime, gave a lot of credit to Connor Hellebuck after the game in his interview, saying Hellebuck was the best player on the ice tonight. And I think it's pretty easy to point to the reason the U.S. was able to pull off that win was Hellebuck, obviously getting outshot throughout the game. A lot of people would say Team USA got outplayed throughout the game. What really matters is the final score. I'm not trying to take anything away from the U.S. Did you get into that narrative at all about the Nathan McKinnon quote that came out, that it was part of a larger quote, but he was saying, you tell me who you thought was a better team out there? Did you read into that narrative at all of Team Canada has probably a fair argument to say they were the better team, even though coming out on the losing side?
Well, let me preface it by saying Canadians, when it comes to hockey, are absolutely 1,000% entitled. They feel like they should win every single game and every single major competition. It's just in their nature. I mean, you have to accept. I accept that anyway. And
it's
so,
kind of like the U.S. in basketball, where it's like, hey, we invented this thing, we're going to be the best at it.
Well, it's kind of like the USA in basketball back in the 70s and 80s when it wasn't the global game it is today. So it's a little bit different, but not a whole lot different. There's certainly an analogy there. But, I mean, on the one hand, on the surface level, I think Nate's right. I think Team Canada is the better team, but they didn't win the game. And so it really doesn't matter. I mean, and I know he gave credit to Team USA, and he should give credit to Team USA, but Team Canada and Canadians felt like they should have won the game, and they didn't win the game. From that standpoint, it doesn't matter who the better team was. The Team USA won the game, and I'm thrilled about it. I'm thrilled for it. And, dude, I came like this close to tweeting while Team Canada was getting their medals. You could just see just like fire coming
their
out
medals
of
and their little stuffed
Yes,
animals
and
that
I almost-
Nathan McKinnon looked like he
right.
wanted to rip the head off of.
Right, and so then they start giving out those little stuffies, and I almost tweeted, boy, they look really excited getting those stuffed animals, about as excited as the silver medals. But I understand Nate's frustration, but at the same time, in those situations, you have to come through. And he was one that didn't, and others didn't as well, and Hellebuck did, and the U.S., look, the U.S., I thought, played it smart. Hellebuck started out and clearly was going to be the hot goalie in that game, and the U.S. got the early goal. And then I thought that Mike Sullivan, the head coach, I don't want to say he went into a shell, but he also, I think, realistically knew that player for player, star for star, I don't know that a matchup with Team Canada in a wide-open game is going to be the best way to win that one hockey game. And so I thought they played it smart. They took chances when they had them. And then it absolutely changed. I mean, when it went 3-on-3 before overtime, I said, this is probably going to end quickly, and one team is going to get a chance and bury a shot. And that's just the nature of 3-on-3. The skating and the shooting are just too good for goalies to withstand over the course of, say, 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah, and we've seen 3-on-3 hockey throughout this Olympics. Typically, the games ended pretty quickly. We saw the U.S. in the quarterfinal, as well as Canada in their quarterfinal game, or maybe it was their semifinal game. I can't remember exactly what
Against
Canada's
Czechia?
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But both instances, the game ended fairly quickly.
Finland
once
was
it got
the
yes.
semis.
The game ended fairly quickly
once
it got to that 3-on-3 point. I'm not a huge fan of 3-on-3 hockey in terms of how you decide who wins a gold medal. I think this is a game that these guys would probably rank above even an NHL Stanley Cup final. I think these guys have that much passion and intensity towards playing, or when they get the opportunity to play for their countries. I would not like to see it go 3-on-3. This is just me, the Dante Gomez imaginary rules of Olympic hockey. I would have liked to see 5-on-5 for 10 minutes, 4-on-4 for 10 minutes, and then 3-on-3 until somebody scores. I think that would have been a better way of handling it. I get that you don't want to get these guys injured. You don't want them extra ice time. They're already away from their professional organizations for 2 weeks in the middle of the season. So I think there's a lot of arguments why you can't do it that way. But to me, this was too important of a game to go 3-on-3. Do you have any issues with that?
Well, this is not a hill to die on for me, just because it's the way it is. If it were 5-on-5, I think Canada wins the game. I think if overtime started 5-on-5, I think Canada has a better shot to win. And I think 3-on-3 was something of an equalizer for the United States, because they have very good, they have very good players. But I mean, the ice is just so open at that point. I mean, it's a different game.
It's a complete, and that's part of why I don't like 3-on-3.
Yeah, I
because
get it.
we saw 60 minutes of hockey and 2 goals scored.
Then win it
and
in
then
regulation.
we see 90 seconds of hockey and 1 goal scored. It just, to me, it doesn't represent the game flow. It's kind of like in baseball when they have the runner start on second, which I get during the regular season. You have to get through these games. You can't wait forever to, you don't want to go 18 innings into games on the regular season. But there's a reason they take it away once the playoffs start. And I think that should have applied to this match as well.
Well, I don't think they ever should have taken away regular extra innings to begin with. I don't like the ghost runner in the regular season, and I would push back on that. I don't think you have to have it in the regular season, but they wanted to cut down on the time, the length of the games, and that was one way they could do it. Look, is it a different game? Yes. Is it what the rules are? Yes. Am I hockey guy enough to care? No. And if Canada had won, I wouldn't be sitting here complaining about 3-on-3. So it really cuts both ways for me. I'm glad the U.S. won, thrilled the U.S. won. I think it's one of those few sporting events, Dante, where as I'm watching it, I'm going, this is one of those moments. This is one of those legendary times. This is one of those special milestone type of games, and as the game unfolded, it just became so clear to me that if the U.S. were able to figure out a way to win this game, it was going to go down as a moment in history. And there aren't too many times when I'm watching a game where I have that sense. I mean, obviously it's the Olympics, it's USA versus Canada, it's all of that pageantry. But then the way the game unfolded, it's like, oh yeah, this is one for the ages. And I mean, I got that sense during the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It felt like that going into even the Olympics itself. It felt like if this was the final, that's the kind of gravity this game would have. Obviously, USA only 2 gold medals in hockey prior to this, 1960, 1980. So automatically a Mount Rushmore moment for USA hockey. But it just the importance that this game had in terms of American hockey going forward. Do you think this is a moment that we're going to be looking back on 50 years from now? Like, that was the moment that USA hockey maybe overtook Canada and never gave it back. Do you think this launches USA into the same stratosphere as Canadian hockey nationally? What do you think this meant for USA hockey going forward?
I think it's a really good step forward. I'm not going to sit here and pretend, though, that we are where Canada is, even in the depth, the talent, the history, the prospects moving forward. Clearly, it's not going to hurt the evolution of USA hockey, maybe the popularity of hockey. I think on a topic like that, we see it a lot during, say, the World Cup. The U.S. or the U.S. women's team, makes a run to the title, or the men make a run a little bit deeper than they normally make. And all of a sudden, could this be the epiphany in the United States for soccer? And it never is. And I don't know that hockey's in quite the same place, but I'd like to think that it's a step in the right direction for sure. Am I ready to say U.S. hockey in that sense has arrived and we're on the same plane as Team Canada? I wish I could. I just can't go that far. Can you?
No, I don't think I can either. I don't think it'll ever have the same importance as hockey does in Canada. Hockey's the number one sport in Canada and probably will be forever. I don't think you'll ever be able to say that sentence about hockey in the U.S. I think it'll always be third, fourth, fifth fiddle here in the U.S. behind football. Obviously, you could throw basketball into there, baseball ahead as well in terms of viewership at least. And I could see hockey surpassing maybe baseball or basketball potentially. I just don't think it'll ever be the number one sport here in America. I think it can inspire a next generation of athletes. And I think something particularly important about the team is Austin Matthews. He's from Scottsdale. I'm from Phoenix as well. Hockey, you didn't grow up playing hockey in Phoenix, really. I had a handful of friends that played it, but that was kind of the first wave, the generation of hockey in Arizona. And Austin Matthews mentioned it, that we have guys from Scottsdale. We have guys from Minnesota in there.
Yeah.
We have guys from all over the U.S. So I think that will definitely take a step forward in terms of, hey, I grew up in Dallas, Texas. Maybe I want to play hockey now. Or I grew up in Palm Beach, Florida. Maybe I want to try hockey now, because it's not limited to the regional aspect that it used to be. It feels like back in the day, every player was from Minnesota or Michigan or insert northern state. I think you're going to get a lot more wide-ranging guys from where they're from in America, at least, and I think that's a step forward in itself.
I hope so. I mean, I hope it has that kind of impact, that kind of draw, and does so regardless of geography. I mean, it's been a little bit that way, but to enhance that, to strengthen that, I think it'd be awesome. But this is Canada's sport. Period. The end. We've got. I mean, much like the NFL rules the roost in the United States, hockey rules the roost in Canada. And from that standpoint alone, it's an uphill fight. It's a severe uphill fight for the United States. Now, we do have the benefit of a massive population advantage in terms of the number of people here, so there's obviously a bigger pool to draw from. But I'm thrilled with the way the game unfolded, thrilled that the United States won, Dante, and man, it's just something I want to soak in. It's just like, all day yesterday, I wanted to, I go to church and wanted to talk to everybody about it, see people today at work. First thing is talking about it. I mean, I'm in the grocery store last night, hey, did you watch the game today? It's just that kind of thing. There is a galvanizing effect, I think, with a game like that. I'm sure you experienced
No,
the same
absolutely.
thing.
It felt like it was a coming together moment.
Yeah.
And Mike Tirico had a great explanation of that on the broadcast afterwards. We'll play that here in a second. I just want to add on in terms of I was talking about how you're going to find guys that play for Team USA from across the country more so than ever. Zach Bai of The Drive just texted me. Jack Hughes is from Orlando. So the guy that was the hero of yesterday's game, coming from Florida, that's just not something that would have happened 20, 30 years ago. So I think USA Hockey's at least taking a step forward in that aspect.
I want to bring up another aspect of this because when there's a game like this that absolutely captivates me, and that game totally captivated me, and it would have been disappointing had we lost. I don't think I would have taken it to the degree that Canadians took it. I get that, but there's a great Substack by this guy Steve Magnus, who's like a performance coach, mental and physical, maximizing performance, and he writes a piece called "Broken Teeth, 41 Saves, and the Psychology of Not Flinching." I put it on my Twitter timeline if you want to go to at Mike Rice 139. And it is just a fascinating look into some of the psychology that Mike Sullivan used with this team. The just perseverance, resilience of a guy like Connor Hellebuck, of a guy like Jack Hughes, and this absolute. I mean, see, this is what I get into when there's a moment like this, and then it works out. I just want to dig into every single little detail, but this is such a great line. The environment you create determines the performance you get. A safe zone for learning, a focus on controllables, relationships built on care, not fear, pressure reframed as opportunity. And Sullivan did all of those things. And it's a fascinating read and a fascinating look into why perhaps the U.S. was able not only to win, but the manner in which they won, overcoming the various things that they did, the whole Johnny Gaudreau situation as well, and that contributing to sort of as a galvanizing effect. But it is a story for the ages. I'm not trying to be too dramatic, but Dante, this is one that I mean, the players, everyone's going to be talking about decades from now.
I think the picture of Jack Hughes missing the teeth, bloody mouth, American flag around his shoulders right after the win, I think that'll be an iconic picture in American history at this point, or at least American sports history at this point. And I do want to dive into the style of play. I want to get to that in 1 second. One last thing on how these sports can bring America together. I want to play that clip from Mike Tirico here, and we can react, and then we'll dive into some of the more how the U.S. was able to do it, the grittiness of it, and maybe how that can compare to the team we have here in town in the Avalanche.
Because of a drought that almost lasted a half century, those teams are revered. They are held on to forever. And what happened today doesn't take away from the greatness of those teams or the meaning that those teams have in U.S. hockey. But what you saw today was the build of a generation, inspired perhaps by that team that lost in 2010 in Vancouver to the Sidney Crosby golden goal in overtime, or the team where TJ Oshie had all those shootout goals in 2014. That's when these guys were doing what you're doing, watching on TV, and they were young, and they were living the dream. So for all the young people out there, not just the hockey, but all the Olympics you've watched, those dreams are formed now. Go chase them and go get them. Because our country loves sports, and it brings us together unlike anything else. And if you didn't know that, and if you haven't been watching the last 2 weeks, you saw it in Team USA Hockey, winning the gold over their arch rival Canada here in Milan to wrap up these 25th Olympic Winter Games.
And I think Mike Tirico put that really well of what this moment can mean for the USA and USA Hockey, and how moments of the past in 2010 and 2014 led to what 2026 and what was able to happen here for Team USA. Do you have any thoughts on Tirico's comments?
No, I mean, I think Mike, first off, Mike is such a pro, and for him to summarize it like that, I think is completely fitting. I think it's easy in the moment to be hyperbolic, and yet there are times, and I think this is one where I mean, there's a historical perspective, as I was referring to earlier, that I think we can all recognize in the moment. And especially, I think the Olympics draw that out because the international nature of the competition. And then the fact it was the drought in men's hockey, it was the anniversary of the Miracle on Ice to the day, which was crazy, 46 years. So no, I mean I thought Tirico nailed it, and that's what he gets paid to do.
He's very good at it.
Yeah, he really is.
All right, with our last couple minutes here, I want to dive into how that game maybe relates to the Avalanche.
Hey, one last thing, though, and we had someone on the RamosLaw.com text line mention this, and yes, it needs to be brought out. How about Jacob Slavin?
Yeah, local guy.
Of Erie, Colorado, being on the roster and all that, and that is such a cool thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love having
You got to give a shout-out.
No, absolutely. He deserves it. Any local representation obviously deserves it. I believe played at Colorado College, too. I'll double-check that in the break here. But talking about local, we saw Nathan MacKinnon, big moment on the line, empty net, couldn't quite put it in the back of the net. Later in the game, probably had a chance to fight off the puck, play the puck in overtime. Seconds before the game-winning pass was made, Cale Makar was able to put one in the back of the net. He had we talked about it on the drive, but a lackadaisical effort on that game-winning play from Team USA as well in terms of Cale Makar getting back on defense. Devon Toews, he had a great opportunity that Hellebuck was able to redirect and not get into the net there. How did you feel in those moments when you saw these Avalanche players letting their team down? And do you think there's any carryover from that into the rest of the regular season into the playoffs for the Avalanche?
Yeah, the first question is because I was thinking of that too, and it's a little bit problematic for me only because they're great players. Does that make them great in that moment? Not necessarily. And I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to get Cale's take on what he was thinking, or maybe why he wasn't playing with the type of energy that he normally does. Well, I look at like the taser shot that somehow Hellebuck kept out of the net with the paddle of his stick. I mean, that's just a great play by Hellebuck. I mean, did Taser really do anything wrong on that play? I don't know. Now MacKinnon missed a wide open net. That one's a little bit more like wide-eyed for me because that's so out of character. I attribute the Hellebuck save to an incredible play, maybe a miraculous play. But the question about moving forward, Dante, I'm interested to get your thoughts because part of me this morning was thinking about the Avs and was thinking like, ooh, I mean, the Canadian players took that loss really, really hard. And I don't think for many of them it's going to go away overnight or over the course of a day or two, even if they're getting back to their NHL teams. I think that's one that will stick with them a long, long time. Now, I don't know if it'll affect their play this season, but in the short run, it's like, will it affect their play at all? I don't know. I think it might. It could, potentially. I know they're pros. I know they're great players, but I also know they're really disappointed and felt like they should have won that game, and those are three core players for the Avs. And then I think, maybe it motivates them more. Maybe it gets them more fired up like, man, missed out on an opportunity there. We are not missing out on one over here, meaning with the Avalanche. Now, how do you see it going?
I kind of see everything that you said coming to fruition there. I think those moments will haunt these guys bigger than any moment they could have professionally in the NHL. And I get that you could ask, what are you talking about? These guys all have Stanley Cups, and they went out and won it in 23, and they have a good chance of getting another one this year. I think that it's something that within those players and within anybody is you can't compare that to what it feels like playing for your country and going out and having the opportunity to win a gold medal for your country the first time you're able to participate in the Olympics. Because for the longest time, not longest time, but there's an Olympic or two there that the NHL guys weren't able to participate. The NHL season didn't stop for these guys to go out and participate. So I think this is one of those that it'll eat away at them for a very long time until maybe they're able to get that redemption 4 years from now and win a gold medal for their country if they're able to do with that. But I agree with the latter part of what you're saying, that it can be a motivating factor of Cale Makar not quite getting back on defensive in his head. Hey, I'm not going to let that happen to me. If we're in the Stanley Cup or any playoff game, I'm not going to let that happen to me again. I already went through that mistake once, not letting it happen. Same with Nathan MacKinnon, and he had a blown opportunity. I'm just going to call it what it is in terms of that empty net.
Yeah.
He got that pass, and he had a great opportunity. And if he scores that goal, Team Canada most likely goes on to win, and he knows that in his head. And so I think that's one that's going to sit with him as well, and hopefully it can be used as a motivating factor instead of a a drain from his energy and his mindset and his focus to finish the season here. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit of a lull from the Avalanche, maybe the first game or two back. But I think once they hit their stride, they're going to get back to what we saw for a majority of that first half of the season. But I think it's hard to replicate the emotions that go into those games and be like, oh yeah, they're going to bring that on a Wednesday night in Utah. I just think that it's not quite the same stage, and it might take a game or two to get these guys back into the flow.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and that is a concern that I have. I'm really interested to see how they respond and see what especially the first handful of games looks like. I mean, on the one hand, you don't want to give them a pass, but on the other hand, this is as high intense hockey as you can get. I mean, certainly it'll be more intense than a lot of these regular season games here down the stretch. I want to bring up one other question though about the game and the aftermath of the game, if I might, as we go into the break.
Yeah, we can go long here.
Did you find it a little bit disappointing that I know the players were disappointed, the Canadian players, and obviously the fans are fans, and I just felt like there wasn't enough good sportsmanship coming from that side after the game. I really didn't think so. And I was disappointed in that. Hey, I get it. There's a rivalry between the two countries, but you know what? I mean, I just felt like it was, yeah, they won, but instead of like, hey, they beat us fair and square, and can tip of the hat, tip of the helmet to Team USA. At some point, I think you've got to take the high road, and I don't think they did enough in my book.
I think that's fair, but I think they were really disheartened in the moment of losing that game, and I don't know. I understand when a player isn't exactly the most. I'm trying to think of how I want to word this. Maybe the most congratulatory, gracious of the other team, and congratulatory of the team that did beat them. Because in their head, I think you don't get to that point unless you almost assume that you're going to win that game. You don't go into the mindset of, oh, we could lose this, and what am I going to feel like if Team USA is on the right side of it? I don't think those guys have that kind of mindset. I don't think you can have that kind of mindset. So in the moment, I get why they were acted the way they did and feel the way they do. I think if you ask them this summer to comment on that game, I think they'd have a little bit of a different tone to it. But in the moment, I get it. You're, man in the arena, and it's one of those where it's really tough what they just went through. Last thing on the game, and I want to get your thoughts on it. We're going to go a little long here, but I have a theory that the reason Team Canada lost yesterday is the same as similar trends as to why the Avalanche haven't been able to get out of the second round for a majority of the last decade outside of the 2023 Cup or 2022 Cup. And I think that a big part of it is they're the best team. They're the better team in a lot of these games. But when it gets time to the gold medal match, to a playoff game, you need some grit. You need some physicality to your team. And I think Canada was lacking that, and I think the Avalanche have lacked that a little bit in their runs at trying to win a Stanley Cup themselves. Do you think there's anything to that?
Specifically the toughness?
The toughness of the team.
Yeah, okay.
I think they can be a little soft and finesse at times, and similar to what we saw from Canada. I'm not saying they're soft individuals, but I think the team dynamic is more of a finesse dynamic than a gritty dynamic that translates. Again, I think finesse and the high flying, scoring all these goals translates to regular season hockey. I don't necessarily know if that translates to the postseason of hockey or gold medal match of hockey.
Yeah, I don't know, because, and the reason I'm thinking about it here on the fly is because Team USA is pretty darn good. I mean,
they are great, but I think if you're rattling off the best players in that game, I think probably 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 all go to Canada. And it's McDavid, it's McKinnon, it's McCarr.
I know, but the Kachuk brothers aren't exactly chopped liver, and the Hughes brothers are the.
No, they're not, but it's not quite the same level of skill, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I don't know. I think that they were playing a greater collection of talent against Team USA. I'm talking from the Canadian perspective, which if you take, say, any given NHL team, you're not playing that collection of talent on any given night.
I think that's fair, but I think that in general, you could say the Avalanche are the better team than who they've lost to in the playoffs. And I think part of it is not being able to either, one, show up in the big moments, or two, not being able to match the moment of the physicality.
I think that's fair. I think in general, yes. I think that has been a factor for the Avs. And quite honestly, Dante, I'm interested to see if any of that kind of personality changes at all, if there is a grittier nature, if there's a more determined, more focused, more, in a good way, that dirty type of game, grind out some goals, get a tip here, bump somebody out of the crease, get traffic in front of the goaltender, fire pucks on net all the time, all the dirty and greasy and slimy things, if you will, of hockey that lead to playoff wins. I don't know. I think that's the big question for the Avs. The talent's undeniable. So I'm not sitting here trying to say the Avs aren't a good team. But are they going to win the Cup?
We're fixing to find out.
We are fixing to find out.
We're fixing to find out. All right, that's enough on the hockey. Absolutely, it's the story of the day in sports in America. We will get into some more local stuff here with the Nuggets. They did it again, and I don't mean it in a good way. Coming up next.
Is health the only thing holding the Denver Nuggets back from another title run?
If these guys are healthy, they can make that run. They can take it to OKC and win in 7 if everybody's healthy.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
You really are amazing. My name is Glenn Jamron. I'm chairman of Alpine Bank, member FDIC. You've told us how some people get mad at you for following your own pathway in life. You've said they judge you. Know this. Each of us is entitled to our own opinion. Why? Because we're all different. The pathways you choose in life are your own. It's your life, no one else's. And that's okay. Nobody likes to feel judged. No one likes to have others mad at them. But the key to navigating judgmentalism is to check things out, make your decision, and then commit to being true to yourself. Let others say and feel what they wish. They have that right, and you have the right, the obligation, to follow your own heart. Alpine Bank, committed to Colorado, and you.
Hoops in Hamilton on the DU campus is intense this season.
And the Denver Pioneers have scored more points than any game in program history.
The threes are flying and the atmosphere is electric. Join us to create a home court advantage as conference play heats up.
Goes down low, feeds Wysocki, up with a two-handed dunk.
Group discounts and one-of-a-kind experiences await. Denver basketball. Get your tickets today at DenverPioneers.com.
Progressive Insurance knows pets, and one of the biggest differences between people and pets is that we don't eat things off the floor. But dogs definitely will, and it makes them so happy, no matter what it looks like, smells like, or what state of decomposition it's in. We all want to go through life that carefree, and that's also why you should get Progressive Pet Insurance, because they eat things off the floor. So protect your pet from all the questionable life decisions they make. You know where they drink from when you're gone, right? Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
Jackson Hewitt knows taxes are complicated, and with multiple jobs and tax forms, they're like Sonata complicated. Our no surprise pricing keeps things simple. Jackson Hewitt does your taxes for only $149 or less. And since we know all the new tax codes, you could get thousands back. So what are you waiting for? Hurry. File with Jackson Hewitt today for only $149 or less, guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or play stopped, opt out. Terms and conditions apply to the earnings promotion.
Do you have caregiving experience as a parent, teacher, nanny, coach, or in another similar role? Hop Skip Drive is looking for experienced caregivers who want to help students in their community by driving them to and from school. Earn up to $50 per ride with Hop Skip Drive's welcome promotion, all while helping your community. community. If you have your own vehicle that is no more than 10 years old, a clean driving record, and at least 5 years of caregiving experience, you could become a Hop Skip Drive care driver. Just text ROAD to 323232 to get started right now. Hop Skip Drive gives you the flexibility to set your own schedule and earn competitive pay. It's simple. Drive in your free time and make a real difference for students right in your neighborhood. Don't wait. Text ROAD to 323232 right now. Text ROAD to 323232 and start earning up to $50 per ride during Hop Skip Drive's welcome promotion period. That's ROAD to 323232. Text ROAD to 323232 now.
Hi, Dan Cicchini with Dunright. Great pricing options and bank financing? You bet. Kitchens, baths, counters and floors, finished basements, windows and doors. Done right since 1985. You have our word, we'll treat you right at Dunright. Visit drhi.com. Thanks.
Meet Matthew Preston. Inside his apartment, everything he holds dear is protected by Progressive's Renter's Insurance, like his laptop and a surprisingly valuable collection of baseball bobbleheads. Outside his apartment, his laptop is still protected, as are his bobbleheads, which he carries around with him for reasons no one knows. Renters, the limits of protection aren't just the four walls of your home. When you're in Progressive's Protection Zone, get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1225. 800-777-1225 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-777-1225.
HelloFresh makes home cooking nutritious, delicious, and exciting. You excited when you get those freezer-burnt, pre-packaged meals in the mail? I know I'm not. Go to HelloFresh.com to explore plans and menus because nothing hits like home cooking.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
Denver Sports Tonight, carrying on. I'm Dante Gomez, joined by Mike Rice. Took a deep dive into Team USA beating Canada there. Want to give one last shout out to Connor Hellebuyck because to me he was a player of the game, American hero at this point, and I don't think there's enough good things you could say about him.
Make the guy the MVP of the Olympics. I mean, come on.
There's something funny about Connor McDavid having 2 MVPs that he was not on the winning team.
I'll just close it with this. What are we thinking? That's as close to a no-brainer as you can get, and they still messed it up.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And I get McDavid had a great tournament, but again, there's something funny about him having another one now.
Yeah, but
that
Hellebuyck
he didn't win he won the Conn Smythe and didn't win the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, but Hellebuyck was better. He had a .956 save percentage.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I want to circle back on the Jacob Slavin. He did go to Colorado College.
Okay, there you go.
So drafted out of there.
Yep.
But let's move on to the Nuggets.
There you go.
The Nuggets did it again. They lost the clutch game to the Warriors, who don't even really look like the Warriors at this point. No Steph Curry out there. Jimmy Butler out for the year. No Draymond Green. They were missing another starter. Porzingis did not play as well. Yeah. So just looking like a shell of themselves. The Nuggets were not able to get it done. I get that the Nuggets have some injury issues of their own, but in my book, as long as Jokic and Murray out there, there's no excuse for losing a game the way they did, especially against a team of that caliber who's, even when those guys do play, are still in the play-in tournament, a lower seed here in the West. So one, did you have any big takeaways from that game specifically, or is it more of just the same overarching concerns as far as the Nuggets not being elite in clutch time?
Yeah, my biggest takeaway is, and we've heard this before, when Jokic is concerned, that's a concern for me. And Joker's concerned. And I don't know how you can't be concerned with the type of, air quotes, defense the Nuggets are playing. I mean, this is abysmal. And I can't quite figure out how they can be this bad defensively. And the only answer I come up with is they're really just not trying at all. And that is a major concern for me. Now, am I ready to say, well, they're not going to make the playoffs? No, I'm not. I mean, I'm not going to go off the deep end, but to say that everything's hunky-dory is also not where I'm at. I'm concerned, and I want to see not only some better effort, I want to see some better results here in the short run.
And I think that's fair concerns to have, because that's my number one concern is defensively. I have no question that down the clutch offensively, Jokic is going to be able to perform. We've seen Jamal Murray be one of the most clutch players in the NBA the last handful of seasons. So I don't have as many concerns about offensively in clutch time, but to me it comes down to the defensive side. And I'm with you that at least it's happening now in February versus when the playoffs come around. But I don't like the idea of just being able to flip a switch.
Right, because again, we talked about this more a couple of years ago, as I recall, but at some point you are who you are. And what have we seen, especially since the All-Star break, that is going to lead us to believe that all of a sudden when the games matter the most, i.e. the postseason, that the Nuggets are going to become this defensive team that we haven't seen all season? It just doesn't work that way, or typically doesn't work that way, and I can't expect that it would work that way, and so that's why I'm concerned.
No, and I think that's fair, and you mentioned that there's a lack of effort out there, and I think there's a lack of effort. I think there's some physical limitations as well with this Nuggets team defensively, at least. Jokic isn't your typical center rim protector, defensive stopper in the middle, and I get that he does so much on the offensive side, so I don't want to make it sound like I'm ripping Jokic by any means. That's just who the player he is, but it's about the guys around him being able to step up defensively. And without Aaron Gordon, without Payton Watson, it's really limited. Cam Johnson, no one's going to mistake him for an all-NBA defensive guy. And not typically, you sign him because of what he can bring offensively, and he's a smart player. Offensively looked pretty bad yesterday as well.
Totally disappointing to this point.
Yes, a disappointing season in general. But continuing on the defensive thing,
Yeah.
Jamal Murray, not an elite defender. Julian Strawther really struggles on the defensive end. So there's not a lot of great defense on this team being played regardless. So that's why you have to play with effort. If you're not going to be able to physically impose on these teams, you have to at least play harder than what we've seen. And sometimes it feels like this team's just going through the motions on defense.
Dante, the Warriors average 115, 116 points per game. Solid. And they were without their best offensive player in Curry. And Jimmy Butler, we know, is out for the year with the ACL, and he's obviously a very skilled offensive player. And in 3 of the 4 quarters, they put up over 30 points. 39 in the first, 37 in the second, and then 33 in the fourth. Shouldn't happen. Even if you're a bad defensive team against that Warriors group, you've got to do better than that. You just do.
You do. And it's almost, and I said this on Friday's show talking about the Nuggets and Clippers game, but it applies the exact same to the Nuggets and Warriors game we just saw. It's almost as if somebody told the Nuggets, oh, no, the Warriors aren't trying to win tonight. You guys are leagues better than them. There's no way that they can beat you. And that's almost the same thing we saw in the Clippers game of they came in there expecting to be the better team, and when the Clippers didn't lie down and die, the Nuggets ran into some issues. Same thing in this Warriors game. When the Warriors came out firing and didn't lie down and die maybe the Nuggets expected them to, they're missing all these starters, there's no way they're going to play with that kind of effort. That's when you need to almost play with more effort, because those guys on the other side aren't as talented as you. The only thing that they can possibly do better than you is play harder than you.
But what does that say about the makeup of the Nuggets when and I don't know if they were thinking that, but let's just take...
and I'm somewhat fictionalizing that, but it feels like somebody told them that.
Right, but I mean, what does it say that they can't find it within themselves to at least give better effort on that end of the floor? And again, it's not just, are the Nuggets a good team, or do they have a great player in Jokic? We know all of that. It's, can they win the NBA title? That changes the nature, at least to me, of how I look at some of these issues, how I look at how they're playing, how I take a comment from Joker about his being concerned about certain things about the way they're playing. Yeah, because can they win the NBA title? Can they get out of a Western Conference that is brutal right now? And not only that, Dante, but where are they going to end up in the seeding for the West at this point if they continue this kind of play? Those are all, to me, very fair concerns. And again, I'm not sitting here saying it's Chicken Little time, the sky is falling. But if you look at how they're playing and just say, yeah, it's no big deal, then I can't get to that point either.
I'm right there with you. You can't just switch a flip unless you have LeBron James in his prime in Cleveland. Those kind of teams flipped a switch in an Eastern Conference that wasn't very good. We saw last year the Nuggets went to 7 in the first round. And to me, I think you're lying if you don't think them playing 7 games in the first round had an impact in the second round of Aaron Gordon getting hurt, of these guys running out of gas a little bit against the waves that the Thunder can throw against you. So to me, it's not the kind of sport or conference or team that can just flip a switch come playoff time. I think you need to see, they need to show me some consistency. I'd like to see an 8-game win streak prior to the playoffs at some point. I need to see you guys string together some wins in a row here. We're fixing to find out about this Nuggets team as well.
One more piece on this. Level of concern. 1, no big deal. 10, there's no way. They're in the play-in. Where are you?
I'd give like a 4.
Wow, you're low.
Well, if 10 is you're playing in the play-in.
Well, I mean, 10 is like the sky is falling.
I don't think it's that bad. No, I don't think David Adelman's getting fired like what we saw Michael Malone get fired last year. I don't think there's that level of concern. I think there's a chance they lose in the first round if they get a bad matchup.
I'm at about a 6+ right now.
Okay.
I just want to see. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna look at this next stretch very carefully. Boston at OKC, Mini at Utah, Lakers and Knicks here, back at OKC, Houston at San Antonio. There's some games coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be looking forward to that and reacting here on Denver Sports Tonight going forward. We're going to wrap up the show with the NFL Combine is this week. What are we looking for? What should the Broncos be looking for? Up next.
Does Sean Payton need a home run hitter in the running back room?
Travis Etienne is the type of playmaker that the Broncos need on their offense. He's a guy that gets to top speed instantly. He gets to and through the hole quickly. He explodes on the linebacker level, and he's got the long speed that you could have a simple handoff for Travis Etienne, and all of a sudden it's a 60-yard run.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Xfinity. Imagine all that could happen in 5 years. Jobs may change, kids will grow, new memes will come out, but what if you had reliable, intelligent Wi-Fi and the price didn't change for 5 years? Thanks to Xfinity 5-year price guarantee, you don't have to worry about that part of your future. You're guaranteed 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to your devices that need them the most, that finds and fixes any issue before you even notice them. It's like super intelligent Wi-Fi that keeps you protected from online threats. You get incredible gaming speeds on multiple devices and no one battling for bandwidth. For the next 5 years, all your devices will be working with perfect harmony, and you get our best equipment with no annual contracts, no fees, and no strings. So even though your kids grow up and you still don't understand 6-7, your internet will stay sharp, reliable, and most importantly, the price will stay put. Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi, all with Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Select plans only.
Dan Jacobs with 303 Law 4040 and Jacobs Law with another cool story to share. James called 303 Law 4040, and he's like a lot of our clients, not looking to get rich, but he just didn't want to get stuck with a bunch of medical bills. So we met with James like we do all of our 303 Law 4040 clients in person, and it's a good thing we did because we noticed James did not look so good. We sent him to the hospital to get checked out, and they did wind up admitting him. In the end, we got him feeling better and $125,000. He was over the moon. He came into the office to pick up his check and rang that victory bell. And the really cool part is James surprised us with a check of his own, a donation so we could keep the best free meal in Denver coming each and every first and third Thursday. If you've been injured, you may be like James, not looking to get rich, but not sure what to do. That's why we're here to help. Just give us a call at 303-LAW-4040. Go ahead, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. That's 303-LAW-4040.
Hey guys, boy Steve here today about my long-term buddy Troy Hansford. And if you're thinking about selling your house for any reason, now might be the time to sell, still get top dollar. Believe it or not, my guy Troy is still offering his $5,000 guarantee. What is it, you ask? Well, if you can't sell your house at your price on your timeline that you agree upon beforehand, bam, going to cut you a check for $5,000. Who else makes the offer? Nobody I've ever heard of. And he makes that offer because he continues to spend a ton of money marketing his listings, has about 100 families approved and ready to buy right now. And if for any reason you need to sell right away, Troy can buy your house, all cash, and he can close in as little as 7 days. You have a house to sell, Troy probably has that perfect buyer for you right now, waiting for you to pick up the phone and to call him. Call Troy, get your home sold for the most money. That's 720-900-4433, 720-900-4433. Troy Hansford of RE/MAX Professionals, a Colorado licensed broker. Some restrictions do apply. Want to sell your house? Then call my buddy Troy, 720-900-4433.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Denver Sports 1043 to stay up to date on all your local teams. Denver Sports 1043. The Fan. Denver Sports Station 1043 The Fan presents Denver Sports Tonight.
Dante Gomez, Mike Rice back in for the final segment of Denver Sports Tonight. Got a quick one here for our final segment. Want to give a shout out to everybody on the RamosLaw.com text line as well for participating, sparking conversation, asking some good questions on there. Mike, we're going to finish up with the NFL Combine is this week. One, I want to ask you, how much of an importance do you even put on the Combine anymore? We're going to see Francisco Mendoza's not throwing. He's the presumed number one pick. We've seen a handful of athletes opt out to specific workouts in the Combine. Are you still putting a big level of emphasis on this?
Not for the top guys because they can afford not to participate, but I think it is important for teams to get to talk to those guys and obviously see the guys that do work out and get a feel for what some of those guys are about. I mean, they've got all the college tape in terms of game production, but I think you can get a feel for what they are, what they're like as people, their character, that kind of thing. I mean, look, it is what it is. We know what it is. I think it'll help the Broncos. How do you see it?
I'm right there with you. I think the actual drills themselves, I don't think there's too much to be learned there. But I think learning the actual athletes, who these guys are behind or under the helmets, I think you can learn a lot there of, you know, there's stories of Shedeur Sanders showing up to an interview last year, maybe not going about it the way he should have. And I think you can learn that kind of stuff about these guys. But the actual on-field stuff, I'm not too too keen on, I guess would say. Or I'm not going to have my eyes glued to.
So you're not going to. It's not must see TV.
It will not be must see TV for
me either. I'll read Mace.
There we go. Yes, go online, read our Denver Sports articles by Mace. He'll be live in Indianapolis. That'll do it for me and Mike. I appreciate everyone out there listening. Shout out Team USA. Shout out Connor Hellbuck. Shout out Jack Hughes. Big weekend for those guys and Team USA. We will be back for more Denver Sports Tonight tomorrow.
You'll never find. Tune into The Rundown with Richie Carney every weekday at noon on YouTube, Facebook, or X. Presented in part by the Birdie Bar, Louisville's premier indoor golf bar experience. Check out this week's live music trivia and other fantastic events at the